Nigeria, what are the what does accountability mean for Nigerians, and why should we care about it? Why should we work towards accountability, especially for this current administration?
Yeah, thank you. Accountability could sometimes just be mistaken for just financial accountability alone. But when it comes to governance, it is the whole gamut of the activities of government. Either it is monetary related, or policy related, or programs and activity related. Accountability, including even appointments. Accountability, it's about being able to give accounts of whatever it is that has been done on behalf of the people by those who have been entrusted with the responsibility and even power to do it. And that is where the abuse of power comes in when there are no accountability on the part of those who exercising the power. The flow of accountability is from the executive now to the parliament, and that is where you have the parliament, which is expected at the end of certain period or end of the year. Reports are taken, either midterm reports of the budget that was passed the previous year, or the policy that the government wants to implement that is also submitted to the parliament for scrutiny and approval. And then the parliament is expected also, which is why the provision is made for constituency office. It's expected to also account to the constituency, and that is either at the federal level, at the state level, or at the local government level. Unfortunately, all these levels of accountability has been completely eroded. They have really removed almost everything that you can see, either from the non-existence of the constituency offices, and in ones where you have few of them existing, they are not manned, or there are no flow of information from there. In some other places, you will see signposts without offices as the constituency offices of of the parliamentarians. And at the same time is where you would see that you have constituency projects that are approved for the parliamentarians, and you don't see the project. You see the approval, you see the money. It is as bad as some parliamentarians are even executing projects in constituency that are not connected to their own primary constituency, because the whole essence is not actually to implement the project for the betterment of the constituents, but actually to just have funds diverted. And the same thing goes to the governor. So you can see in many of the states, except where you have fallout between the serving governor and the godfather or the predecessor, like you're having in River State, you will really have any form of serious scrutiny coming from the houses of assembly to the governors, because they have removed every element of accountability from the executive to the parliament. Unfortunately, it is also the same thing that you have with the judiciary. So the whole of the power structure, government, is expected also to give account when you take them to court and you ask for questions and you make demands. Either you are asking for through freedom of information, or through policies that are made, and the rest of that. But the judiciary is also really letting people down. I mean, the police brutality or abuse of human rights, when it is challenged, you are actually also asking those who have abused those powers to come and give account of whatever it is that has been done. So the element of accountability is inevitable if you want to have a sane society, if you want to have responsive society, and if you want the people to enjoy the essence and dividends of a democratic dispensation. It is when you have a military system that the element of accountability is almost eroded. Not that this is totally removed, it is only eroded, because that is where you still have the Armed Forces Ruling Council and all that kind of different organs. through which the president and others would always have time to talk, and then also still go back to their military formation for any form of directive and then also policy formulation. But within the democratic dispensation that we have currently, there's really any reason to celebrate accountability within the system. It is at the lowest hell. And that is also the moment you can find accountability is extremely difficult to also have transparency, So because people don't want to give account, they are never transparent about the process of either action or policy making or programs and all the rest of that.
Okay, sir. So we're seeing incidents recently from the government. One of them is the appointment of a controversial name in the NSITF. But we're seeing these appointments, like you said, we're seeing this interplay, we're seeing the judiciary appointing like the same families as judges and over time. How does this? I want you to talk specifically about the role of civil society in this, and how do we change all of these things that seems to happen and nothing ever gets done? How can civil society really effect change in this system?
Yeah, it's not so difficult, but it's been challenging because the environment for civil society to really take on board some of these developments are really also not only just Herculean, but also risky because it is almost one day, one issue. It comes almost every day. It is rather unfortunate. Just like you said, this is not just with the executive alone, where you're seeing this kind of impunity where someone who's been indicted for diverting public uh, goods, products and services that was meant to alleviate the people's well-being under an epidemic situation of COVID. And that was not only just diverted away from the people, it was converted also to the most mundane, irresponsible celebration of personal birthday party. I mean, that is someone that should have become a pariah for any responsible government not to be touched with public office, much less to now be appointed to such a place. And what you have known with the NSITF is that it is almost like a cesspool of corruption in the past. So it means someone who has the propensity for this kind of attitude is just been given to a place where character is not even necessarily needed for you to become what you have. So I think it is really sad that this development continues both at the level of legislator where you have people still vying for and getting elected into the parliament with questionable school certs, with lack of requisite qualification to be there. It then takes you to even the minister, the current minister of science and tech, is being accused currently of forging his NYC certificate, of also forging the school's first degree certificate of the university where he claimed to have graduated from. And that takes you also to now the judiciary, which is actually where it's expected to be the hope of the common man. It is unfortunate that the qualification to get people into the bench now is not about merit anymore. It is becoming a product of nepotism, where you appointed because of your parents or family members' position in the society, and that is the beginning of the end of an independent judiciary when that comes to play. What the civil society can do is to continue monitoring and also taking on board using the few available mechanisms for accountability to challenge this development. The Federal Judicial Service Commission, for instance, responsible for the appointment of the judges at the National Judicial Council, the Parliament, and the courts. So, where you have the situation like what you were just experiencing with the appointment of the former House of Assembly member to the NSITF, there should be serious action, concerted effort at challenging the National Assembly to take an action, and at the same time also to challenge the president. If he seems to have forgotten, to remind him of the character of the person that is just being appointed, either by him or people that are close to him. And as much as we can, it's important to continue naming and shaming many of these people that have found their way into public offices through the back door.
Okay, sir. So, a little teaser. What would you say to the allegations that civil society has been compromised, especially under this current administration? Because it is believed that the administration, well, the president, the current president, was a fan or a supporter of CSOs in Lagos, especially, and now everybody seems quiet because he's not the president. I just wanted to quickly react to that.
Okay. Well, it is up to people who are saying that. So, except it's very easy to lay some of those allegations. There's no doubt that the president, not really the president, but quite a number of people who worked with him while he was the governor in Lagos State, had very good relationship with the civil society, the pro-democracy movement, and quite a number of leading activists in Nigeria. But the truth is that the concentration of NGOs are not just only in Lagos. I mean, so what happens to the one in Abuja if the ones in Lagos are not speaking? But the truth is quite a number of the campaign against some of the faulty policies or appointment or actions of the president is more actually criticized more by the civil society in the southwest or in Lagos. It's more than what you would had with even any other presidency from their constituencies. It's that you would give. But it's very easy when you're expected to say one thing by a certain set of people, or even if the generality of the public, if you know better, it is not compulsory that you are. So others should start taking advantage of if the policies and programs of the president is not popularly acceptable. It's an opportunity for people to speak. For instance, with the recent development with the MBA and the SPDL, the committee of it, that spoke against the police ECMR, and the thing got reversed. So if people, the speeder might not have the legitimacy to make the statement, but it's made the statement, it's taking the action, it's already popular. NBA is trying to catch up as a body. Usually it is expected that it will be done by NBA, but the speeder did it, and for whatever it is. So if the civil society, either in Lagos or wherever, are not speaking, it's an opportunity for the new ones to start taking up the gauntlet. But I can tell you that except for those, and and the NGO is such, or civil society is so amorphous. You get just different kind of them that are even created by politicians themselves, that we call Gongo, which is government, NGOs, and those ones are always there and paraded. Quite a number of them, you will see, to even the surprise of many civil society organizations, campaigning for, say, someone like the governor of Kogi State, the former governor Yaya Bello, and saying he should not be prosecuted. I mean, so you can simply say, oh, some NGOs, but you can understand the level of how people kind of perceive issues, or what motivates them, or the kind of actions that they take. But really, for those who are conscious and connected NGOs to the people, to the issues, to the policy, it doesn't matter who is there. Even if it is a family member, you would always find a reason to say the truth.
Okay, so let's talk about, still on the issue of accountability, let's talk about protests. So there's ongoing discussion about protest starting, and some way, somehow, we've seen some government policies, some government reaction. One of them is the minimum wage. Do you think that protest is the answer? And with the kinds of coloration that has come, with especially this one being planned, some saying it's from the southeast, some saying it is anti-government, anti-APC, some saying it is against Lagos. In all of these divisions,
Yeah.
do you think that that kind of protest can lead to a desired goal? And then, is protest the answer at this point?
Yeah, the protests and demonstrations are fundamental rights. So people have a right to protest, either at the local level, at the state level, at the federal level. And I see no reason why government should prevent people from protesting. The only thing that is important is that the protest must be peaceful, to the extent that also others who will decide not to protest will also be accorded their due right not to be part of it. We can't, after the experience of what uh, we saw with the NSAS and the looting and burning and destruction of properties, there's no government that will be expected to look the other way if it is taking the kind of dimension of what we saw with the destruction that actually followed the NSAS protest around. So for the government to start doing the expected, that is fine. I mean, that is how government should respond. It is not only in Nigeria, it is all over the place, it is across the world. Government might still respond positively, and the people will perceive it as insufficient and still decide to protest. It is fine. But once it becomes a threat to other people's peaceful also existence, movement, and association, then it becomes a challenge. But if that is not associated, I think people have their right to do it. It should not also be allowed to be colored as a sectional thing, or that is only focused on a particular state, like what you would want to, like you said, it's coming from the southeast, it is targeted at Lagos. I think those who are calling for it must be able to take control of the narrative and ensure that that is not also misconstrued as a deliberate action by some other motives beyond what the other people are the ordinary and generality of the people are actually talking about.